Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Women Unleashed. Today I've got the lovely Lana with me, who is a feminine leadership mentor. She works with ladies, helping them become more feminine, work on their self-worth, become soft, and she does all this through hypnosis and NLP. So welcome, Lana. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for inviting.
Honestly, it's my pleasure. And as soon as I seen kind of what you do, I was like, I need to get you on the podcast because I want to be more in my feminine, okay? I struggle being in my feminine energy. I think being a businesswoman, as you know yourself, makes it a little bit more difficult for sure. And another topic that I kind of wanted to cover is being, one in your feminine energy, how to uncover your feminine energy, but also talk about attracting emotionally unavailable men and how to stop it, because I feel like so many ladies will relate to that on this podcast. So do you want to give us a bit of a background kind of on what you do, how you got into it?
Well, I feel like to get to where I started all of this, that's a bit of a journey.
Yes.
So I'm going to cut it short.
Yeah.
I started doing what I'm doing when I lost my dad.
Oh, okay.
And my dad has such a big figure in my life, and he shaped me the way I am today and what I do and all of these beautiful things. And I've been loving it since then. And I jumped into NLP and hypnosis with a skeptical mindset before this. Like I was thinking like, can this actually work? You know, like when you have no knowledge about it before, like you would think that this is all woo-woo.
Yeah. I mean, I am very woo-woo. So, like, I believe in the moon, the crystals, the universe. I'm very woo-woo, so
astrology,
I'm here for it. Yeah, astrology, all of it.
Numerology. Yeah. Okay, good. Because I'm all about that too.
Yeah.
And that's how I started. And then at first, I try in two ways, work with men and work with women. And then I find that both genders are amazing. But recently, I started to realize that my power is more relies on women, helping women to come home to themselves again. And I realized that this is something that I do naturally. And why not to harness that even more and spread it even more and impact whoever women that I can come across to.
Okay, I love that. And do you know why I like it so much? Because it's got a deep meaning to it. With your father passing away and everything else, it's kind of opened up this whole new world to you, which obviously means a lot more to you. So you put all your effort, energy and passion into it. I absolutely love that. So let's touch on feminine energy. Now, feminine energy, masculine energy, very, very different, right? As us females, we should be in our feminine, right? But why is it that so many females are in their masculine energy?
You know what? We need to rewind a little bit, because we all have that feminine energy and we are never away from it. It's just forgotten.
Yeah, okay.
In the back of your mind. And that is because a lot of women are hustling or like in their masculine energies, because in today's world, it's almost like you feel like you have to, isn't it? Yeah. You have to hustle, you have to prove yourself, you have to... It's almost like you have to. Even like the words that you hear is like you have to. Otherwise... XYZ.
Yeah.
It's all negative connotations to it. And part of it is because single women and then single mom and this feminism that's going on
At the
a
moment,
lot.
Yeah.
I'm actually so shocked. Before I came to Dubai, I never heard about the term of 50-50, for example. And this is something that I want to touch upon like later on. But I just want to mention about that, because in my culture, like how I grew up, this term never existed.
50-50.
Yeah, it's almost like so weird to even think about it. And my brothers, for example, right? He recently got married, and all he thinks about in his mind is how to provide for his family, how to protect my family, how to be the leader in the family. And it's a bit contradicting when I come to Dubai, or even like expose myself to, the Western world, for example. And nothing good or bad, it depends on how you want and what you feel right for you. But for me, like how I grew up is just a little bit different.
Yeah. You know what? Whilst we're on the topic, we may as well touch on it. It's not just Dubai. I think Dubai is a lot better than most places, because I've spoke about this before on different podcasts with different guests, but because it's the Arabic culture, right? And Arabs are very much so, you know, it's not 50-50. They find that offensive. But
It
because
is.
they're, yeah.
It's the same in Malaysia.
Yeah, really?
They my brother or my brother's friend actually mentioned about this. Don't humiliate the male's culture.
You see, I love that, but they are your proper men, whereas you go to Europe or the UK as well, you know, that sort of thing, and everything's 50-50. Absolutely everything. And, you know, I'm not speaking for everybody, because there will be men out there who are very much so in the masculine and want to provide. But why is this happening? Because this was never a thing, you know, back in the day. Yeah, I'm going to sound really sexist here, but men would provide, men would go to work, and, you know, females would stay at home, look after the families and whatnot. Granted, now females are working as well, so maybe that's why the 50-50 is coming in, because more females are working and having to provide for themselves. What do you think?
Well, I think.
Go on. We love a strong opinion. We love it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Can you tell from my face?
Yeah, go on. Drop it.
Well, I think it doesn't matter if the woman works or not. You know, what matters is if you want to prove yourself to the men that you're with, that you are capable or not. Because this is something that I notice with women a lot today. That okay, the check comes in. Let me take care of myself. I can take care of myself. Let me pay half of the bill. Like, I'm independent. I work. I make good money and XYZ. And she's trying to prove herself, right? That, oh, I'm not just, you know, gonna use your money and stuff like this. Is it good or bad? Personally, for me, if you want to attract emotionally available men, a masculine man, and a good type of man that could take care of you, who could lead you, who could nourish you, for example, that's not the dynamic that you want to put into.
Okay, well, this is where I'm going wrong. This is exactly where I'm going wrong. Okay, this links to the next topic, but let's just carry on about the feminine energy first.
So that's one, because one thing about feminine energy is that it's not about it's not about doing, you know. When a lot of women actually ask me, how do I get into my feminine energy? Again, feminine energy is not about doing. You're not getting into it. You're being.
Yeah.
You know, but when I say being, it's intangible topic, right? It's a intangible aspect to it. And you're going to be asking me, like, but what does that mean? Yeah. What does being mean, right? Being can look like this, like you're surrendering, you are letting go, you are trusting. And this is something that we normally don't do as a woman, because we don't have that safety inside of us.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So it comes back to learning how to feel safe within yourself. Now, as a woman, or as a human being in general, man, female, male, female, we are a whole being, okay? But as we grew up, a part of us started to have a different identity, bit by bit. So we started to lose ourselves, like from whole, bits of us started to separate. Mm-hmm. And now when we started working on ourselves, understanding who we are, our values, our needs, what's important to us, these are all important. Because if I were to ask you right now, like, what do you want? You said that, oh, I think I know what I want. But when we go deeper, it's almost like, is this actually what I actually want? You know? So when we work on ourselves, we started bringing back all of these pieces of identity of ourselves back into the whole being. And as a woman, and I emphasize this a lot, because as a woman, we tend to stir away from our being. Mm-hmm. And that's why when we lose a job, or when we break up, or when we get divorced, we panic. You know, even when we deliver baby, we forget who we are. Yeah. Or were.
We lose ourselves.
Yeah. Technically. And then this is the part where, if we actually understand and having that trust and surrender and continuous having that faith in, woo-woo.
Woo-woo land.
Woo-woo, God, universe, whatever you call it. For me, it's God, because I can literally feel it outside of me, inside of me. What about you?
The universe. See, the thing is, I am Catholic. I'm supposed to be Catholic. I got raised a Catholic because I'm from Poland. You know, I had my first communion, that sort of thing, went to church. And then over the years, my belief just changed. Do you know what I mean? I think it's because when I was younger, it got imposed on me. right, you have to go to church, you have to do this, you have to do that. You know, I left Poland and I became myself. I found myself, and now for me it's the universe. But it's the same thing, we just call it a different name. Do you know what I mean? For one, you know, for some people it's, for Buddhists it's is it Buddha?
Buddhism, yeah.
Yeah, Buddhism. Then we have God. Then we have the universe. Like, it's so different for everybody, but it's the same energy,
Concept.
the same concept.
Yeah, that's true. It's almost like, to me, it's everything, right? It's everything and nothing at the same time. Oh my God, it's just so beautiful. I don't know. When I talk about this, I'm so passionate.
Good, I love that.
But where was I?
We were at feminine energy somewhere.
Okay.
It was somewhere in the
That
feminine
leads
energy.
to this. Let me ask you this question. When you say you struggle a little bit with your feminine energy, what does that mean to you?
Me struggling with feminine energy. So I'm a businesswoman, okay? I provide for myself. I buy everything I want. I pay for my bills, my house, everything, okay? Now, whenever I meet a guy and he will say, I'll pay for this, I struggle with that, okay? I struggle to feel, I don't even know how to describe it. I just struggle to feel, like I struggle to feel feminine. Like, I feel like I'm very much so, no, I can do it myself. I don't need you, I can do it myself. It's not that I don't want somebody to do that, I do, but I think it's past relationships that have caused this as well, where, you know, I was in a relationship and maybe I didn't pay, or I didn't split something and it got thrown back in my face. So for me, that has stuck with me now. So anytime that somebody offers, or a guy says to me, no, I'll pay for this, I'm scared that they're either going to retaliate later down the line and say, well, I got this, I got that coffee, I got that dinner, that sort of thing. Or,
but that's petty.
Yes, I know, but it's like trauma really stuck with me. Or we live in a day and age where a lot of, I'm not even going to say men, guys, because these are guys, say, oh, well, girls are using me for money. You know, and it's just, you don't want to be labelled as that. It's like, no, it's fine, I can pay myself.
Just because they paid for the dinner. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Have you not heard that? That's like, so many guys out there are literally like, all girls want is money. No, girls just want to be provided for. Girls want to be looked after. We want to feel safe. We want to feel in our feminine. Yeah.
Can we touch upon this topic now?
Yeah, go on.
I feel so, I don't know what's the word for it, but it's such a petty thing, I feel like, for a man or men to, or guys, like you said,
because a man wouldn't do that, you know. A real man's man wouldn't do that.
Guys to how they measure what they provide for you is by money, for example. And I actually spoke about this on my threads recently, and it's insane because you say women just want money and you only pay for dinner. Does it make sense?
No, make it make sense.
I mean, come on now. I mean, like, before you go out with someone, you know that someone is working. Yeah. You know that she's been taking care of herself before you're actually going out with her. Yeah. And she goes out with you and you pay for her dinner, for her drinks, and you call her a gold digger just because you paid for that. It doesn't make sense, literally.
Yeah, like I could have paid for that dinner myself.
Literally. And you don't need to go out with him, to be honest, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, how old are you now?
I'm 27.
27. And, well, like Kylie said, soon to be 30.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, don't. Because I have been having, like, midlife crisis. Well, not even midlife. Because I'm like, oh, my God, I'm 30 in, like, 3 years. And I'm still single.
It's actually not too bad.
No?
No.
It's just
so
a number.
good.
It's just a number.
It's so good to be 30, to be honest.
Good.
And
okay.
It's going to be a different shift. But,
again, honestly, my brain works like this.
It's going everywhere. Like, so many things that we touch upon is like so good. I like it. But
we were saying about guys and dinner.
And
us, like, I can pay for it myself, basically.
Yeah. So, for example, if a guy asking me out, right, and if I personally don't feel good within myself because now I'm very in tune with how I'm feeling, and it's not coming from external judgment, like from how he looks or whatever. It's basically more on the energy part, and I'm very, very mindful of who I'm sharing my energy with, because as a woman, a guy could actually invest in you, or they could harvest your energy, your feminine energy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think this is going to be a really good thing to mention, because a lot of women giving out their feminine energy away, and that's the reason why they're in their masculine. It's because their feminine energy has been harvested by the men that they've been dating.
But have you noticed that a lot of men nowadays are a lot more feminine?
This,
It's like the roles are reversing.
Reversed?
Yeah, yeah.
the older the men get, the more feminine they are.
Really?
Yeah. And the older the women get, they get more masculine.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is the reason why, because after the age of 35, you are conditioned, or you are hardwired to certain situation or certain beliefs, and like the way you're being.
Yeah.
So, for example, if it's not serving you before the age of 35, and this is literally like a good time or an invitation for women specifically, obviously, because we speak to women, to actually look into it. What's not working for you? What is it that you don't like about things? And this is the time to actually release them and have a new subconscious programming.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, after the age of 35, you might need to revisit that topic or pattern
Yeah.
twice or 3 times, you know?
Okay.
Because I worked with one client, and she's over 35, a few actually. And it's not hard, but it's not that easy.
Yeah.
As if I'm working with 19 years old, or if I'm working with 25 or 27 like yourself, for example. It's so much easier to rewire your brain.
Yeah.
And it takes only 90 days. It's not taking you years and years and years of work.
I love that. So how do you help women do that?
A few things. One is NLP, one is hypnotherapy. So
Do you want to explain what NLP is? I know, but for listeners, just a brief.
Okay. No problem. So NLP, how you want to become successful quickly. That's in short. But in long form is how we basically connect what is serving you, what is not serving you, and then we connect them together, and then we reprogram that in the back of your mind. Basically, we create new neural pathway that could support you to your journey that you want to go future.
I love that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think your audience would understand?
Yes, for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And NLP, I live and breathe NLP. I love it so much. And one of the things that I work with women a lot is playfulness energy. So installing that playfulness again inside of them. Like you said, you're a business owner and you're providing for yourself. And a lot of women are like that, especially in Dubai, I noticed. And one thing that is harder or not that easy as a woman, as yourself, to do is to be playful again, right? And then you start thinking logically and critically about every single thing that you do, isn't it? Yeah. So one thing that we need to remember, that life is a game, and you should always put in some playfulness motion in there.
I love that. I actually love that. Life is a game.
It is a game.
But we all take it so serious.
So serious.
I feel like I need to come to you and do this. I need rewiring. I swear, my brain needs rewiring big time. It's got some trauma in there.
And for playfulness embodiment, we do through hypnotherapy, hypnosis, and it's such a beautiful movement, because one thing about embodiment is that, okay, let me just rewind that. So one thing that we do is that we learn, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the time we learn. And sometimes we might know things, but we don't really do them.
Okay.
Why? Because there's no embodiment in there. Yeah. You understand it, but you don't understand it enough to actually lock it inside of you. So what NLP or hypnotherapy do to you is that it's lock it in. So that way, everything that you do is just natural.
Okay, I feel like that would be, because I'm on my way there. Do you know what I mean? I catch myself with certain things, and I feel like that NLP and hypnosis would just push me a little bit more that way, because I am aware and I work on implementing these little things. But like you say, we don't always do it. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. There is a gap.
Yeah, there is definitely a gap.
What you know and what you do.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'm in between. I'm in that gap at the moment, because I am doing, but maybe not as consistently. And I am finding myself going, backwards sometimes.
Yeah. And like the gap, the reason why you have that gap is because of the previous beliefs.
Yeah.
And maybe like the traumas that you mentioned.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think we all have traumas.
We do.
We all have traumas, and some people will get a bit, not offended, but they're like, oh, well, why are you blaming everything on trauma? But it is little incidents that happen. They traumatize you, even when you don't realize.
Yeah, like losing my dad was a trauma for me.
100%. That's a big trauma. That's not even little. That's massive.
I know, but like last time when I mentioned it, and people say that, why do you call that a trauma? You're losing someone you love, and that's a trauma. And I'm like, yeah, it's grief and it's trauma, losing someone I love, which I have never.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like leaving your child in the supermarket. I've said this before in a podcast. That's trauma to the child. If you leave a 4 or 5 year old in a supermarket because you're going to get something, that child's going to be distressed.
Oh my God, you know what? I still have that trauma, got trapped in a lift.
Exactly.
When I was a child.
You see? And now you're scared. How did you get up here, the stairs?
Well, I need to hold it, and if the door started to close, I'm like panicking a little bit,
You see?
And that's not something that I work on. Maybe I should.
Maybe you should, because there's a lot of high rises in Dubai, so we
That's
need
true.
we need them lifts, otherwise you'll be up and down them stairs.
But yeah, this is such a great topic. I love talking to you about this.
Thank you so much. I'm just, honestly, I've got my life experience there and share. And like I said to you, this is why I wanted you on here, because I really relate to kind of what you do. And I want to learn from you as well. So with the feminine energy relating to attracting emotionally unavailable men, let's link that topic in then. So how does that link in?
One of the things is that when you started to attract emotionally unavailable men, and it's becoming a pattern, and it's coming from a place of validation, external validation that you're seeking for rather than intimacy.
Okay.
And most of the time why you attract emotionally unavailable men is because you yourself are not emotionally available.
That's interesting. That's very interesting, because I thought I was emotionally available. I really think, I did. I thought I was.
That's one. The second one, you might be too, I don't like this word, but I'm going to say it because it's easy for people to understand in general. You're too desperate to find someone. And one of the things that when we attract emotionally unavailable men is that we started to pour our heart out a lot and a lot and a lot. Yeah. And we started to become vulnerable straight away. So he gets to know about your life from A to Z within a week time, let's say.
We give too much away too soon. Okay, maybe that is a little bit of me. Now, the desperate side, not so much. However, I can relate to that. So when I first moved to Dubai 3.5 years ago now, I was in a position where I was like, I need a boyfriend. Like, I'm being single for me is just not a thing. Like, I like to be in a relationship. I prefer to, although I've only ever been in 2 relationships, and I'm 27. So it's not like I'm jumping from one to the next, right? I spent 3 years single after my first relationship, and then I came to Dubai, and I was like, I'm ready to have a boyfriend. And I was dating, and it just wasn't happening, because I was forcing it so much, and I was so desperate to be in that relationship, like you said. And then I just said one day, forget it. I can't be bothered. I am done. And then I met my ex-boyfriend, right? And we were together for 2 years. And then after that, I went into my healing era, and I was like on my own. I didn't want to date. The thought of men made me feel sick. I was like, no, like, I can't. And then I got out of that, and now I'm just like, I would like to be in a relationship, but I'm not forcing it.
How many years has it been?
Since my last ex, it'll be 2 years in September. Jesus Christ, that's flown. 2 years in September this year, so a year and a half.
Okay. And are you looking to have a family?
Yeah, for sure. I want to settle. I'm ready. Like, I thought marriage, family, 2 kids, 3 kids, however many kids. Like, I wanted what I thought would happen is by 25, I thought I'll be in a relationship with a kid.
Well, a few of my clients actually got married after started their healing era. And they got married within 3 to 6 months.
Well, I need a partner first for that, so we need to
step. That's the thing. Like, they broke up. Like, they had a heart broken. And this is like some serious heartbreaking story, like anxiety attack, praying, like walking, started to fall and started crying.
Yeah.
That type of
Yeah.
severe.
I was honestly, after my last breakup, I'm not going to talk about it, but I can tell you another time because my listeners have heard it millions of times. But I used to have such bad anxiety. Every morning I would wake up with my heart pounding. Like my resting heart rate was like 130, which is crazy. Out of nowhere, and I was just like going through such a tough time with that breakup. That was the worst heartbreak I've ever been in. Like my second one, yeah.
And how do you feel about that now?
Fine. I'm fine.
Nothing.
It's I don't feel any emotion towards it. I'm like, it's happened now. I feel like I can talk about it and I feel healed from it, but it's still sad what happened. Do you know what I mean? If I would probably sit there and look through photos or whatever, I probably would get a little bit upset, or it would touch on my heartstrings. Whereas talking about it and just thinking about how I was then, it actually makes me happy to see how much I've grown.
Yeah.
Because I was in a really dark place, constantly crying, like constantly.
Over him.
Yeah, the whole situation, crying. I was anxious. I was just a wreck, absolute wreck.
I would love to hear this story, but
I'll save it for another day. I'll save it for another day for you.
Talk about that later. And what was your question just now? I mean, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that's what happened to one of my clients. And she was providing in that relationship too. And this year she's going to get married in November.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm signing up. I'm ready.
She met a guy 3 months after. Well, we had a session for 3 months. And within the time frame, she kind of like get to know this guy, and she was already like in her healing journey, and she was like, you know what, I'm not looking into like having a relationship, whatever. So but she still signed up on Tinder, Bumble, and all of this platform. And her caption on each of these dating platform was, I'm not on here a lot. If you're interested to get to know me, write me an email why you want to get to know me. Yeah, I think this is something that you should do.
Oh my God, were men actually writing her emails?
They did. She got a lot of emails, and her current partner, basically she put him on hold, and he sent her such a beautiful email about why he wants to get to know her, and now.
Oh my God, that is such a great idea. Wow. Well done her. Very happy for her. So kind of going back to obviously feminine energy and attracting emotionally unavailable men. So you said that obviously one of them was if you're desperate, one of the reasons, and the second one was what, sorry?
That you yourself might not be emotionally available as well. And what that means is that sometimes we need to come back to ourselves and ask what are the needs and wants that we need from someone else. And that's the reason why we attract emotionally unavailable men, because some part of us feel like they fulfilling the part of us that we've been avoiding. And that could look like anything, really. So for example, if he's giving you the care and like he's asking you, how are you? And maybe sometimes we don't check in with ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And because, we have busy life, and sometimes we wake up, we scroll, and then we just get on with our life, and we forgot to check in and to tell ourselves, for example, just a small little detail. For example, look at yourself in the mirror and say that you look so beautiful today, for example, because we forget about the things that makes us women. Things like that, talking to ourselves, like come back home to ourselves. These are the things that we can do, and tell ourselves that I'm so proud of you. Like, thank you so much for holding it together. And thank you so much for being able to communicate like that with other people that you come across with. Thank you so much for the smile that you give to that person. Now you make her day. You know what I mean? Things like this. This is so simple.
It is very simple, but we just don't apply it enough. And for me, it's like, I always attract these types of men that don't want anything serious. And I'm like, well, why? Because I do. And it's like, in the beginning, they're great, and then they just disappear. Or they change their mind because they're not ready. It's too serious. But I'm a very clingy person as well.
That's not a problem, by the way.
But you see, now I'm starting to change because people are like, Dom, you're so nice, but you're too much. Like, all my life I've been told you're too much. You're too much.
By
you're
a guy.
Yeah, by numerous guys. You're too much. And I was just like, I'm just a loving, caring person, you know?
Slap that guy.
Yeah, literally slap them all, because it's been said to me from multiple men, but in different phrases, but basically going for the same thing, you know, like, you're too suffocating, or you're too much, you want too much attention, you want this, you want that. So now I'm just like, whatever, like, fine.
And that's you see the detrimental part about that, it makes you bitter. Right? And if you meet the right person, and when you are actually really, really ready for this, that person literally will devour
They will love that
part of you.
Yeah, like, there
they
is
would
someone
be like,
out.
why you're not clingy, why you're not this, why you're not that, and you're like, well, last time when I was like this guy told me this, that's why I stopped. But you don't tell a man like that. No, you don't.
Their ego would absolutely die.
And you're like, oh, you like that? Really? Well, I didn't know you like that. Well, I can be. If it's too much for you, then that's not my problem. You see? That's the playfulness.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
So that's
adding that in. So how do we stop attracting emotionally unavailable men?
Number one, get radically honest with yourself. And this is the kind of question that you need to ask yourself. Where in me that I'm available to myself? So ask about your needs, about your wants, and about your deepest desire. Because that's the reason why you go after emotionally unavailable men, because they fulfill the part of you that is missing or lacking inside of you. So whatever that may look like for you. And again, I know it sounds like a bit of a work, but if you want to attract emotionally available men, it needs work. You know, like, there's no shortcut to it, you know, otherwise you're just going to keep on attracting the same people over and over again. So number two, stop romanticizing red flags.
That is, you know what, that is huge. That is huge, because people just love toxicity, don't they? This day and age.
We're
like,
all
it's exciting.
Kind of toxic.
We are all kind of toxic, and we all like a little bit of it to an extent, because it's exciting, yes, but there are red flags, and we ignore them in the beginning, right?
That's true. When he says the first time that he's not ready, believe him. When he appears and disappears, that's not mystery. That's emotional unavailability.
I mean, Jesus Christ, don't I know that? Don't I know that?
Okay, this is for the ladies out there. Go and watch this movie called He's Just Not Into You.
Oh, that's giving me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to watch that.
I think it's on Netflix.
He's Not Into You.
He's Just Not Into You.
Okay.
Go and watch it. It's an amazing movie.
Maybe I will have seen it. Is it a rom-com or a comedy?
Yeah, rom-com.
I probably will have seen it, but I'm going to go back and I'll let you know.
You know why? I'm telling you now. And when you watch it now, you have a different awareness and mentality about it. And you are going to notice the part of you that have done this and like this and that, and like it's like a checklist.
Yeah.
And you started to realize, oh my goodness, I've been doing everything and I've been ignoring all of these red flags.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I remember from that movie is that when we were little, when a boy came to us and be mean to us, like pushes or whatever, we've been told that. Who came up with that?
Who made that up? We still say that. If a boy's mean to you, they like you.
Yeah. Utter bullshit. Sorry.
Or
Can
it's
I
not.
say
So
that?
that's not. Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
You have to express yourself, honey. Okay, so that's not true.
That's not true.
All right. Okay.
And also, since we're on this part, when you tell your friends, make sure the right friends are telling you the right things.
Yeah.
You know, because your friends play a huge role into your life.
They do.
Yeah, and sometimes they might be saying things just to take care of your heart, you know, and they know like how much you have gone through, how much heartbreaks and all of these things. So sometimes they just want to pamper you, you know, like they want to protect your heart. Bless them, but sometimes we just need the honest truth, especially when we're going into, you know, being more mature and stuff, and we want to settle down and all of these things. So
we do get influenced by our friends a lot, and I think, for example, you know, when a person breaks up with their ex, that your best friend, oh, she's not going to like him and she will never let you get back with him. So do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, our friends really do.
And we listen.
We do listen, but I know, you know, some people don't. Some people might not listen. Some people might lie and hide things. Well, that's not healthy either.
That's the worst, to be honest. And that's the reason why for any matter that is personal to me, I would not go to my friends or my family members, for example, especially if I don't want their life.
Yeah.
You know? And I would always go to professional, or now I'm really grateful that my circle full of coaches and like mentors just like myself, so I can talk to them and they are coming from a place of neutral judgment rather than, you know, coming from their own past experience or anything like that.
100%.
Yeah. But we're all human. Sometimes we make mistakes.
Yeah, no, we do 100%. But you are right. Like, sometimes it's good to step away from your friendship and your family and go speak to somebody fresh, somebody that doesn't have a clue, because you're going to get the honest answer. You're going to get the honest advice rather than a one-sided one.
That's true. Like neutral perspectives, basically. And the third one is stop proving and start receiving. And what I mean by that, and this coming back to how you feel safe within yourself. And a lot of us, for example, if I tell you, like, if you want to make money, right? Let's say you want to make 1 million. And if you don't feel safe within yourself, like, you will not achieve that amount of money. But once you feel safe within yourself that I can make this amount of money in my business, you're able to get it, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because you feel safe within yourself. And it's the same principle that applies to relationship, for example. And back to like the 50-50 culture, and a lot of women wanting to prove herself rather than receive, like you mentioned. It's a bit of a struggle for you to receive, right? And this is the part of you that we can look into, and this is within the safety. The safetiness within yourself, how you feel within receiving. And receiving could look like help from men, from people around you, the trust, you know?
Yeah. I always feel, whether it's men, family, friends, if somebody gives me something or pays for something, I feel guilt.
Yeah.
I feel guilty.
And like, what can I do for?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, I met up with a friend for a coffee yesterday and she went, I'll pay. And I was like, no. No, she was like, let me get it. I was like, okay. Before, I would never let someone do that. I am getting better. I would swipe my phone and I would pay. And I don't know why that is, because I don't feel like I have money blocks, for example, or I'm scared of earning money. I'm not. But maybe there is something rooted deep down.
Yes. And have you ever explored?
The money side of things, not so much. I've looked into it with the family side, so I'm much better than my parents, for example. They have a very closed mind around money, you know, not having enough, that sort of thing. And they live a normal life, a normal working class life, but they've never exceeded that because it's always been a very small mindset around money, you know. I've only got this job, I'll only ever earn this much, that sort of thing, you know. I'm trying to get them to think bigger. Yeah, like, don't worry about every pound, penny, every 5 dirhams you spend, because they would calculate everything. And that's how I got brought up. And then since moving out here and having my own business, I'm a little bit more careless, which isn't also that good, but I'm not as anal with counting every single penny, every single dime that I spend.
And how do you feel about money? Ease, is it? At ease?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I panic, you know, with business. I'm like, oh my God, I need to be doing better. I need to be doing more. I was never, before having my own business, I was never bothered about money. Never. I used to be a nurse. So I worked for somebody. I was just earning my wage, whatever, living month to month in the UK. And I remember starting my own business and I said, when I get to X amount a month, I'll be happy. Okay, now I got to X amount of month. I was like, right, when I get to this amount, I'll be happy. And I'm constantly chasing more and more and more, and I'm never satisfied. Am I scared of money? No. Do I want to be making more? Yes. Do I have a bit of an unhealthy relationship with money? Probably yes. But I don't know why.
But you have that trust. Yeah. You have that trust that money's coming. Yeah. money
Well,
is
so not always, you see. Like, I'll have a good day and I'll be like, yeah, like, I'm fine. I'm not panicking. And then I have days where my brain just plays tricks on me and I'm like, how am I ever going to be successful? How is this going to work? Oh my God, I have nothing. And I'm like, well, flip that mindset around, girl, because this ain't good.
no. And I'm pretty sure that because of the comparison that you might have seen somewhere, something, and then you started to question yourself, wait a second, I haven't reached that point yet. And then you started to, having this critical mindset around it. And that's totally normal. You're just being a human.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's the same for relationship, for example. When it comes to like receiving, it's more about like the trust that you won't be judged. This is me speaking out loud, generalizing from the women that I have worked with. One, they don't feel the trust, and they feel like they need to prove something, so that way they would be seen as a wife material or something like this, girlfriend material. Because right now, wait, let me just say this. Isn't it funny, when we don't like a guy, we could actually be unbothered. We don't care if he's gonna
What
pay,
he thinks,
what he thinks or whatever.
And he likes us.
Yeah. And when a guy that we like, we started to act up.
Act different. Because we're trying to be something we're not.
Exactly. And that's the same with receiving. When you don't fully feel safe within yourself and like trust that, like all of this in the back of your mind, the mindset around receiving. So this is something that we can look into. Some women never had the opportunity or opportunity to receive, like maybe parents never really provided for them. Maybe they have never been spoiled, so they feel a little weird when they actually receive this type of treatment. And that's totally normal. And this is something that we can look into together.
Yeah, for sure. But it's funny that you said that, because that's just like kind of sparked something in my head. Guys that like us and we don't like them back, we are unbothered. They are willing to take us out, spend, and they will never say a word, and they like us. Whereas guys that we, our energy's different around and we're trying so much, and they not that they don't like us, but they're not as interested as the other guys. You see, it's that reverse situation, isn't it? So it just goes to show that the less you care about it and, about what they think of you. Yeah, that's crazy.
But that's the thing, though. Well, men are not stupid.
No, I mean, no, they're not.
We are all a ball of energy, right? We can feel energy between us and everything. And when they feel that you actually like them and you're trying your best to put on a show and all of this thing, they can feel that, And I wanted to say something around men who likes us and happy to provide it. And by the way, now I remember.
There we go. Here we go. Here it comes.
As a woman, it's easier for you to develop feelings. So, for example, if a guy who likes you come to you and want to take you out and want to be with you in XYZ, I would say, well, of course, if he's not your type physically or anything, if there's no attraction, there's no attraction. But as a woman, we tend to develop feelings for what this man can provide for us. Safety, whatever that looks like for you, whatever you seek for. It's not necessarily be financial, okay? And that's the beauty about women, is that we can develop feelings for men. But men, they either like you or they don't.
They don't have that. They don't have that ongoing. They're physically attracted to us first, aren't they? And they don't really have that emotional intelligence to develop these feelings like we do. I was like that, with my ex-boyfriend. Like, when I first met him, his humour. I loved his sense of humour. He was attractive, but I wasn't like, wow. And then I fell in love because of his actions, like how he was with me. But then we do have the guys who are attracted to us, but I need a little bit of physical attraction. Like, I need to find just some sort of good looking, do you know what I mean, to initially go out with you and have that spark.
This would come to writing down the kind of partner that you look for, but not holding on too tightly on the list. Does that make sense?
I have a list.
Yeah. And you have a list as a guideline, but one of the things about receiving is that we don't receive a lot is because we want to control things. And a lot of women want to control things. They want to know the specific outcome, and this is how it's going to be, and you know, all of this thing, you know, it's very, very
for sure, very structured, very planned.
But that's where you're going to miss a lot of things, a lot of ingredients around it, and that comes back to number 4.
Oh, okay, number 1. Let's go.
Number 4, regulate nervous system. And again, I'm going to say this again and again and again. Again, it's the safety. It's the safetiness that we feel within ourselves. And that's very, very important, because as a woman, all we care about is how safe we feel.
Yeah. And I always feel like I need a man to provide that for me. That's always been my thing. Like, a man gives me security. A man makes me feel safe. So I've been working on that as well, myself, to make myself feel safe.
And that comes back to when we work on your feminine and masculine energy inside of you, and when we balance these two, you will feel safe within yourself. You don't need an external person to make you feel safe, because otherwise you keep on chasing that, you know, over and over again. Yes, men can provide safety net for you, whatever that looks like. That's what they are supposed to be doing in this world. That's their role. But at the same time, it is also our role to create that safety net within ourselves. And that is healing the masculine and feminine energy inside of us.
Okay.
Basically, if I were to refer it to a person, that would be your mom and dad. Yeah, that. And the 5th, obviously, create a new pattern with a new story.
Yeah. Okay, I love that. And that's it. You have to rewire your brain.
Literally.
If you keep doing the same thing day in, day out, how do you expect a different result? You need to rewire that stuff. You know what? Everything you've said, it makes so much sense. Like, you've just literally made it so clear as to why things happen and how to, for sure, 110%. Like, we need to work on ourselves. We need to be in touch with our feminine to attract emotionally available men, you know, and the only way we can do that is by working on ourselves. Nobody else can do it for us. Yes, people can add to it, but we need to do it ourselves. Yeah. Do you want to add anything for the listeners that you feel like you haven't touched on yet?
I feel like I touch on everything, but as a woman, just come home to yourself again, because it's the most sacred, beautiful, delicious place to be in. If you feel delicious within yourself, just imagine the people that you're going to attract.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's more about self-acceptance and positive self-talk as well, right?
Yeah. When we talk about feminine energy, it's more like intangible stuff. And the result will show you what you're going to get if first, obviously, the inner work and like the behind the scenes stuff like this. I normally don't like to use the term trauma because I feel like some people can find it triggering. But triggering is usually good.
Good, yeah, exactly. That means there is some trauma there. If that's triggering you, you've got some trauma.
Yes, but it's the best place to be in. And especially Dubai, it's the best place to be in when you are in your feminine energy.
100%. There's so many male providers out here.
And the abundance. Yeah. Money, love, relationship, all of this thing. Yeah.
It is hard to find a relationship, but once you do, it's a good one. Yeah, it's not easy. Not easy. I feel like we will have to do another podcast on a different topic because I feel like you've got so much to talk about. You have so much knowledge. And I think everybody is going to absolutely love you. But thank you so much for coming on, Lana. And I will link all your details, all your details, so your Instagram, in the show notes. And if anyone wants to get in touch, they can. And I sure will as well. And thank you so much, guys, for listening. And I'll see you next week.
Bye.